Hey guys, it is March 16th, 2015. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I am headed to work right now, but I wanted to make an update. I've been trying to make this video probably at least 4 times now, and I either run out of storage space or I just don't like the route that I went. So I decided I'm going to give it a different shot and try from there. So the main reason for this video is, number one, just to touch on a couple of life updates, and then number two, I wanted to make a video on just kind of like how I knew I was trans, and for me specifically, what it means. And the reason for that is simply because I have some family members that I know watch this channel, and it would be easier in a way to explain this to them through a video rather than over and over to each individual person. It would just be easier to kind of upload something, plus just to kind of get my feelings out there as well. So first and foremost, I am coming up on 2 weeks on testosterone, which is pretty cool. Thursday will be my 2 weeks. I have not noticed really any changes at all. The only thing, and I don't know if it's the testosterone or if I'm just getting sick, but my throat has been like really phlegmy. I'm not entirely sure what it's due to yet, because there's a lot of illness going around at my work, so it could be either of those things. So that's really the only big, the only big update as far as transition goes. Another life update just in general, I proposed to my girlfriend about 2 weeks ago, and she said yes, so we are officially engaged, which is really exciting. We have not set like a date yet. We do know it's going to be sometime next year. It's just all kind of depending on financial stuff currently. Alright, so on to how I knew I was trans. So I want to start out by saying that I know a lot of guys document and say that they knew when they were very young that they were trans. I did not. That's not how it happened for me at all. I never had a conscious thought either way that I was male or female. I just knew that I was who I was. It wasn't until really like middle school when I started questioning things, and the first thing that had popped up was puberty. And although it was never like a really rough patch in my life, it was definitely a period of time where I was very confused and very depressed at how my body was changing and developing, and it was not the way that I wanted it to in my eyes. It went on through middle school, and that's when I started noticing that I was attracted to girls, and that was a really, really confusing point in my life. It was never really talked about in my family. Like, homosexuality was never really discussed. So at the time, because that was my only other thought as a child, that I must be gay, I didn't really know much about it, and although it was never said flat out in my house that it was wrong, it was never talked about as super accepting. So I didn't say anything. I just kept it to myself. When I got into high school and started to notice that it was even more so, and that it wasn't going away, at least that thought, it started to kind of confuse me even more, because although I knew that I liked girls, I also knew that I was very sure that my parents would not approve of it, so I just kind of kept it hidden through most of high school and college, honestly. I dated guys because I thought, well, this is what society sees as the norm, so I will go ahead and, try to do this. And that didn't work. Although I was in 2 semi-serious relationships, it just never felt the way it needed to be. I didn't like being out in public with them. I didn't like anything sexual at all. I was not physically attracted, and therefore it kind of felt like there was a component of the relationship missing, and there was, because I think that you have to have some physical attraction to the person that you're with in order for a relationship to be, really strong. It shouldn't be fully based on physical, but you should have a little bit of physical attraction. So I remember going through all of college like this, and finally after college, I guess a year after, I decided that I needed to have a counselor or somebody professional in the mental health field, because I was depressed and confused, and I just didn't know where to go. I felt like I had done all that I could do on my own, and that I just wasn't getting anywhere. So I sought out a counselor on my own, and we talked about a lot of things. We discussed my childhood. We discussed the relationship I have with my parents, with the rest of my family, my relationship with myself, and we talked about all of these things at length. And one of the topics that came up was sexuality, and then also gender, which are 2 very separate things. So we first discussed sexuality, and I expressed to her that I was interested in girls, and that would be the same sex, and my reservations about labeling myself as gay, and she had asked me this question that just kind of blew my mind, as far as she said, well, why then, what is your main reservation about it? And when I really thought about it, I didn't like the term lesbian, because in order to be a lesbian, you have to be a female who is attracted to females. And although the thought had never really crossed my mind, subconsciously it was there that I wasn't female, that was the main reason behind not wanting to label myself a lesbian, because I didn't view myself as a female. Although I never said or expressed, I am male, I knew subconsciously that I shouldn't be in the body that I was in, and I didn't want to be female, and I didn't like being female, and I desired very much to be the opposite gender from which I was born, and that it caused a lot of grief and anguish and depression and anxiety in my life. And it wasn't really until that moment that I had kind of put all of this together, and realized that this could very well be what the underlying issue is. And we talked about it, and she gave me some homework, and she had me go home, and for a week I was to dress and act as feminine as possible and document all of my feelings and thoughts. I experienced a lot of anxiety about leaving the house. I was very depressed. I was very self-conscious. I didn't feel right in the clothes I was wearing. I didn't feel right in putting on makeup in the morning, fixing my hair. I did not like it at all. It was very, very uncomfortable. And then she had me do the exact opposite, dress and act as masculine as possible and document. And although it was better because I felt more comfortable in the clothes, I felt more comfortable in the fact that I didn't have to get up and put on makeup in the morning and fix my hair and stuff like that, I still wasn't completely comfortable because people perceived me as just a very butch lesbian, and that was not what I wanted to be perceived as. I was, again, just not comfortable with this term or being perceived this way. And I hated the fact that, people would perceive me like that. But it wasn't their fault. It's just how society is, and I realized that, but it took a while to get there. And so at this point, I had done a lot of research on my own, as well as been to some support groups and spoken to some other counselors, and was pretty sure that we needed to delve more into the gender aspect of my life, because I was pretty confident that this was the main reason that I was experiencing all of these things. And the more that I looked into it and the more that I learned about it, the more I saw connections to my own childhood, my past, and my feelings, and the more I realized, like, oh shit, this is what it is. And at the time, I was scared, because I didn't think that it was as accepted as being gay. And I had a lot of fears going in. Will I ever meet somebody that will love me for me? Will I ever be happy in my life? Will I get to a point where I'll be comfortable leaving the house in the morning? It just a whole plethora of fears and questions and concerns. And so I went to my parents, because I wanted desperately to have them, be part of this journey with me and to help me. And they freaked out and sent me to a different psychologist who guided me in the same path as the first one. And at that point, she was saying, this is definitely something that's on your radar. I am, 90% sure that this is what's up. And I met my girlfriend at the time, and I met her previously, and we've been dating for a while. And so I decided that I was going to move 2.5 hours north, and kind of start over. And I did. I moved in with my girlfriend and started seeing a psychologist here. And within about 4 months of discussing just background and stuff, he wrote me a letter to start hormones. And I started, almost 2 weeks ago, and things have been going great since then. So that's kind of just the main gist of what I wanted to talk about, and kind of my experience and everything else leading up to where I am now. So yeah, that's about all. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns or something that you want me to touch on specifically, I'm more than happy to chat about anything, really. So just let me know, leave a comment, personal message me, whatever works better for you. Other than that, have a great day, everybody.